And that's one of the benefits of this job is it's not like you got to slog in and then you got to go sit in an office and waste away in your office.
We roll out of bed and talk sports.
And talk about the Kings game last night as the Kings got a victory. Congratulations to the Sacramento Kings. They're not going to go winless on the 2024-2025 season. Yeah, air horns dings. Good for them. 111-98 last night over the Portland Trailblazers. And I think the most encouraging thing for me last night, if we're trying to take away something big picture, just getting a win, getting that out of the way, especially since they hadn't had one in the preseason either. So just getting that win out of the way is nice. But the fact that they just controlled that entire game against a bad team, it was on the second night of a back-to-back. The Kings go win by 13, math. The Kings go win by 13, but it was, they took their foot off the gas at the end. They were up, 26 in the second half. There was never a point in that game where I went, oh no, they're going to lose this one. Are they going to really trick this? I just never, I know the Blazers cut the lead to 2 in the second quarter and it got a little close, but the Kings pulled away before the end of the half, pulled away coming out in the third quarter. They were just the dominant team last night in a game they needed to be dominant in, and that's encouraging.
Yeah, not every game is going to be aesthetically pleasing. And as long as this was a very ugly game. That first half, man, that felt like it took like a year off my life. It was so incredibly long. Everyone is looking around like, what is happening? There were so many whistles, 30 foul calls, 34 free throws in the first half. Maybe it was 29 foul calls. It was just brutal to watch. There was no flow, no continuity.
The Blazers were in the bonus in the second quarter with 9:10 to go.
It was crazy.
That means not only are they getting free throws the rest of the way, that means there'd been 5 fouls called in the first 2 minutes and 50 seconds
for just one team. There was more than 5 fouls called. Trust me.
That game tipped off at 7 o'clock, 7:02.
Well, I think it ends up being like 7:08. I think that's the official.
And the first half didn't end until like 8:20.
Oh yeah, that was. We got into the locker room and it was already like 10:20, and then we waited and finally Trey Lyles showed up and talked to us at it had to be like 10:45 at least.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was a very, very long evening at the arena.
Yeah, and like you said, just not an aesthetically pleasing game either. And for the Kings, I'm hearing that it was a wire-to-wire win.
Yeah, 26. They led by as many as 26.
Is that true?
A wire-to-wire lead. They
never
trailed.
Oh, it's wire-to-wire to win for the Kings last night. Yeah, man, and that's what I there's 82 of these games, but this was. Your season's not going to be made or broken in the third game. We can talk about the road trip coming up. We'll talk about the Jazz game tonight. Both the Kings and Jazz coming off the second night or on the second night of a back-to-back. Just a really, really nice kind of all-around good win for the Kings. And the first time we've really seen DeMar DeRozan go in and just kind of take over a game. Or he was the guy for the Kings last night. And I thought played his best game in purple and black.
Yeah, I definitely think that first half when nothing was going right at all, that was a moment where somebody had to step up. And I thought what DeRozan did was, first and foremost, if they're going to call all the fouls, then you might as well go to the line. And so he kept getting to the line, where the Kings now are juggernauts. They now are just they're so far ahead of everybody else in free throw percentage. It's crazy. We all knew this was coming, that they would be the best free throw shooting team in the NBA
we talked about
this season.
all off season.
It was like you went out and you accumulated a bunch of great free throw shooters. You put them together, and we expect them to shoot 85.7% from the line. Who knows what's going on there? All I know is when a game gets filthy and dirty like that game did last night, somebody has to step forward and say, you know what, I'm going to hit some weird shots, some tough shots. It got like midway through the second quarter, the Kings had only made 7 baskets total at that point. I'm like, what is happening?
Both teams were shooting under 40% at the half,
but they weren't even getting shots up. And the Kings at that point, they had way more free throws than they had made baskets. And so you're waiting for it to kind of balance out. But DeMar DeRozan ends up being the guy who says, hey, I got you. I'll help you figure this out. We'll get the offense rolling in the second half. But in the first half, when it's ugly, I think I can deal with this.
Yeah. Nope. Never mind. Wrong. The Jazz had 83 shots last night, and the Kings had 81 for the entire game. Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh. I hate that.
Yeah, it was not pleasing to watch. No. I feel bad. Our new boss was out there with our other boss.
No.
To watch like a really odd, like,
hey, can you imagine? So we have a new boss.
Yeah.
Who moved here from Arizona. But he's been around, right? We're talking to him yesterday.
Man
Great
of the
guy.
world.
Big fan.
Yep.
Big fan.
Mm-hmm.
Has a full. Did you know he has a full sleeve tattoo?
Yes.
He's wearing short sleeves today, and I saw him in the office. I was like, oh my god, we gotta talk.
You guys
tattoos
are
later.
Tattoo friends.
Yeah, we're gonna be homies. But imagine you're hearing about the Kings, and he says he's a big sports fan, and so he says that whatever market I'm in, I love supporting that team and kind of getting behind that team and getting behind that culture. And so you hear about the Kings and how fun they are and this pace they play with and the beam, and it's this whole thing. And then you go watch that game. It's like, oh, this is what people are excited about.
He's like, tomorrow I'm going to have the office painted and I'm just going to sit there and watch it dry. I mean, that's what it felt like. Yeah. I mean,
that's not a shot at the Kings. That was just not the most fun version of basketball.
No, it was some ugly basketball. The second half was fine. The second half looked like a normal game. Yeah. The first half did not at all look like
the refs all
game.
Looked at their watches and went, "Ugh,
what have we done? What have we done?" Yeah.
Yeah, that was like a prime type of game where we saw them smoke that game a few times last year, where they're up at the end of the half. They get out to a bigger lead. What were they up 5 at the end of the half? 8. They were up 8 at halftime. They extended out to like 13, and we've seen them so many times have that 13-point lead, hang around 13, and then it gets cut to 9, and then it's 6. And then, oh my God, there's 2 minutes left and it's a tie game. They just never let that happen last night. And that was a very, very good sign. Again, not saying, oh my God, they did it. They fixed everything they needed to fix. But for the first time that type of game happened, A, they put it away, and B, they put it away on the shoulders of DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, and even DeRozan to end the first half hits that crazy fall away, like 19-footer on the baseline.
It's vintage.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's vintage, man. He is so good at that specific shot. I think early in the season, we've seen quite a few of them already, but I also think like going to the basket, he's had some moments where he kind of forced things.
I totally agree.
Yeah, he's just trying to like feel it out and like get in the right space with the new team. But yeah, last night he was really good, and there were a lot of pluses in that game.
Yeah, let's get to those. But first, we're talking about the DeRozan first half buzzer beater. I believe, according to sources,
Jiffy Lube is what I'm calling it.
Yeah, that's our Jiffy Lube teamwork play of the game. So let's get to that right now. This is courtesy of NBC Sports California. Here's Mark Jones calling that buzzer beater by DeMar DeRozan at the end of the first half.
DeRozan into the front court. Couple fakes, got some space. DeRozan at the buzzer. DeMar with a little halftime dynamite. DeRozan.
Great call. Shout out to Mark Jones.
It is a great call. And my friend Sean Cunningham showed me something interesting on Twitter last night. The new Twitter, like if you hover over a video with your finger or with your mouse, it puts it in slow motion. So I believe that's why it keeps doing that.
Wait, what?
Like it keeps getting blocky. But like if you're watching videos now on Twitter, if you just put your finger on the video,
weird.
It slows it down.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I loved this. Let me get back to this specific play by DeMar here, because this is good. That's who's one? Is that Anthony Simons? One? No, it's a little big to be Anthony Simons. Who is that? Who's number one?
That is.
It is Anthony Simons. Okay. So he's playing great defense on DeMar, because if you've watched DeMar DeRozan play basketball, you know this is one of his spots. This is where he wants to get. Maybe he probably wants to get in a couple steps closer than that. He's right on the 3-point line there. but it's the pump fake, and then it's that move right there, just creating that little bit of separation where he can then rise and fire. Like, dude, nobody does it like DeMar, and it was really cool. That was the moment that last night I was like, oh, he's got it. Like they're not losing.
No, I totally agree. When he figures it out and they start playing with some sort of fluidity as a team, like having him as a weapon that you can go to at any time and get a bucket is just going to be tremendous. Like we're just waiting for everything to start clicking. I think slowly things are clicking. They're not quite in sync completely.
Yeah, we literally knew this was going to happen.
Of course.
And I think having DeMar pick his spots like he did last night is going to be really, really crucial here. Because we talked about it in game 1 against Minnesota when the Timberwolves had that stretch where they stretched their 1-point lead to 6, and DeMar was going up contested shots against Jaden McDaniels, throwing up bad shots from the mid-range. It was just like, man, this is not the time for this. So I think as he starts to figure this out and as the Kings start to work him into their offense, we're just going to see it flow better. And I think you're going to see when DeMar DeRozan picks his spots, it's never like, oh, that was too much. That was too much. I think it's always going to kind of be the right time for him to do that.
Yeah, I hope so. And, again, this team needs to figure out who's going to be the fourth quarter guy, and that can change from one night to the next. But they also, it feels a little bit like nobody wants to step on anyone's toes yet. And so you're having, De'Aaron Fox have a really quiet first half and then finish with 24. And you're having, Domantas Sabonis be huge until the fourth quarter and then goes quiet. Same with Keegan Murray. They're all kind of taking turns, and there will come a point where it just starts to flow better.
Yeah.
But as for right now, this is kind of what you're going to have to deal with until you have more time to simmer in the pot together.
Yeah. Other good things from last night. I thought obviously you would love to see the Kings control every game like that. They're not going to, but you would love to see it, especially against bad teams. And we'll talk about that with the Jazz coming up tonight. But I thought the rotations looked kind of closer to what we're going to see the rest of the way. The starters all played between 33 and 36 minutes. Malik just played 19. I imagine that number will come up a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too.
Come up 5, 6, 7 minutes. And then Keon got 14, where it's a little bit of a blowout last night. So you had a few Doug McDermott minutes. You had Isaac Jones checked into the game. You had 5 minutes of Jordan McLaughlin. Colby Jones got in for a few minutes. But I think the Trey Lyles playing 15, you had Monk playing 19, you had Ellis playing 14. I think that's going to be more along the lines of kind of what we're going to see versus what we saw through the first few games or first couple of games where starters are playing 40 plus minutes.
Yeah, I think it was a good thing because the Kings play on a back-to-back and they had to fly to Utah, which is never fun. So it's a tough turnaround to go straight from, Golden 1 at midnight to hop a plane, get in 2 or 3 in the morning in Utah, and then play again tomorrow night. But that's where you need your team to step up in a way that they can rest the final 8 or so minutes, 6, 8 minutes of the game. I thought Mike left his guys out there a little bit longer than I think he would mid-season, but he's still trying to build that continuity. And so when he did go to some of the young guys late in the game, the final 3 minutes, I also think he probably would have liked to have made that like the final 6 minutes.
Yeah.
But you also have to balance like getting this team up to speed and making sure that they're getting proper rest. Big shout out to Isaac Jones, who made his NBA debut last night.
Yeah, what a
big deal.
That's Isaac Jones.
Yeah, undrafted free agent, like made it to the bigs.
Did he just beeline it for the crash zone or what?
He probably did try to attack the crash zone, but Doug McDermott wouldn't miss shots, so it's tough.
He doesn't miss very often.
No.
Now, speaking of not missing very often, Kevin Huerter, very good last night. 7 of 12 from the field. He was 4 of 9 from 3. I've been pleasantly surprised by Kevin Huerter's start to the year.
Yeah, he also had 3 blocks last night. He tied his career high with 3 blocks. I thought he was active. Like, was it all perfect? Absolutely not. But nobody out there is playing perfect basketball right now. I think this is why we're trying to preach patience a little bit with this team is because a guy like Kevin Huerter, it just took 7 months off and he's trying to find his way back, but he sure does look like Kevin Huerter from 2 years ago right now. He does not look like the Kevin Huerter that started last season. And that's just a really, really good thing for the Kings. If Kevin Huerter like snaps out of it and becomes the player he was 2 years ago, the Kings are going to be one of the best teams in the West.
Yes.
Like having that ingredient to add to the Keon Ellis, the DeMar DeRozan.
Part of the reason they pulled away last night.
Yeah. Yeah. He was like he started hitting his three. So what's he finished? 5 of 9? 4 of 9. Okay. Yeah, like I just thought, this is what Kevin Huerter is supposed to be for this team. And as long as he's playing, he's doing the other things. He only had 1 rebound, but he had 4 assists, a couple of really nice assists. Like this is where the Kings can really find some movement. We always talk about like how can they improve? You can improve because you got a better player at the small forward spot and with the DeMar DeRozan, Harrison Barnes swap out, you can improve because we expect Keegan Murray to be a better player. But you can also improve if a player like Kevin Huerter goes from, again, 15 points a game 1 year to 10 the next, and then maybe back to 13 or 14. That's a big boost. And
it's just
so it's possible.
It's just the playmaking too. It felt like last year he wasn't shooting it well, and that started impacting all the other areas of his game, not just defensively, but
yeah.
So I thought something he was so good at in 22-23 was running off the line, playing off the bounce, either hitting that little pocket pass to Sabonis or his floater was really, really effective. And I felt like he just got away from that last year or didn't do it as often.
Yeah.
Maybe wasn't as confident attacking because his shot wasn't falling. I don't know exactly. But it seems like it's back a little more this year where you're starting to see it's not just Kevin trying to get his 3-point shot right. He's actually playing within the flow of the offense. And when he starts knocking down shots, I think you're right. My question is, can he and Keegan Murray both eat at the same time?
I mean, I think that's going to be a really interesting question that they have to figure out, right?
Because Keegan 9 field goal attempts, 3 3-point attempts last night.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple of things. Number one, the field goal attempts are way down because of all the free throws. So I think that's one thing I'll point out. But I'll also say Keegan to date has not played well with his brother there. So when they play the Blazers, I don't know what all the stats were last season, but I don't remember any of the games being particularly great for him. And I also feel like in preseason we saw the same thing. So I think it's just kind of an anomaly thing that Keegan doesn't have his best games against his brother so far. And that I don't mean because his brother's not playing nearly as many minutes as him, but like them on the court together. I did see like like their parents were there last night. There was a moment after the game where they're doing like someone was taking their picture, and it's like the two brothers and their parents, like pretty spectacular to see.
Yeah,
like it's a really good story. But I think that Keegan is going to have to find his way. Like in games like this where things are a little awkward with whether it's because his brother's there or whatever. And then he is going to have to step up and be a bigger force when Kevin Huerter is playing well. And however he does that, I don't know. But again, what did he take? Like 9 shots last night?
9 shots.
He needs to be more around 12, which is where Kevin was. But again, like forget the raw numbers last night because of what started out as like a really odd first half with a whole bunch of free throws.
Yeah. But first of all, did you know he and his brother are twins?
Yes, of course.
I know. Doug, look, if that's the case, bro, what is this? This is 5 games against him now?
Something like that.
Get over it.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. I'm sorry. You can't look across and go, oh my God, my brother's here. I'm not going to shoot it tonight.
Yeah.
Dog.
I don't think it's that. I just think he's like, so last season he scored 12 points, 5 points, and 9 points in his 3 games against Portland. And he shot 2 of 7 from 3, 1 of 7, and 1 of 6. So a combined 4 of 20 from 3 against the Blazers. So for whatever reason, he doesn't hit his shots when he's playing against his brother.
So this is their 4th game against each other.
Yeah. total. And
Yeah.
then preseason, the same thing. Preseason was not good at all.
Kings, come
yeah.
on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
He'll figure it out.
I hope so.
And again, it's Portland, so you're not all that concerned because this team is a year or two away. I was surprised.
Are they?
Like, well, yeah, probably at least a year or two away from a year or two away, Kyle.
Yeah.
I was surprised. Jeremy Grant looked horrible.
He was really good the previous night.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense because the Kings put a guard on him a bunch of times, and he couldn't do anything.
He did have 8 rebounds, but 3 of 12.
Yeah.
I never even noticed he was on the court.
I think that's the problem. That's why you don't want to go out and trade for him and pick up his $35 million salary.
Yeah.
Scoot Henderson it's weird. Scoot is off balance all the time.
It is alarming.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay, so
he's like it's like a runaway train every time he puts the ball on the floor.
It is, and he trips over his own feet, and
Yes.
The Kings got called for a foul, and they're like, "We didn't trip him; he tripped over his own feet."
Yeah.
Okay, so years ago, the Kings traded for Sheldon Williams, Duke legend Sheldon Williams,
of course,
like top 4 pick, whatever.
He's married to Candace Parker, right?
He was,
right?
Yeah, at one point. So I reached out to somebody for Atlanta. I'm like, hey, like, give me a rundown on Sheldon Williams. And their response was, Sheldon falls down all the time. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? They're like, you'll see, just watch. And then you watch Sheldon Williams play, and he's on the ground the whole game. You're like, well, he's like a weeble wobble. Like, what is happening? How come you keep falling? And I kind of feel the same with Scoot. Like, everything he's doing is like super downhill, super low to the ground. He looks like an NFL running back. And it's just off balance. Like, if he was an NFL running back, he's getting like 2 yards a carry and tripping up and falling. Like, it just
kind of like Isaac Arendo before Sunday night.
Yeah, maybe.
I know this isn't the case because basketball is more complicated than this. But it looks like the visual of it looks like Scoot puts the ball on the deck and is like, I'm going from this point to that point, and once I get to that point, I'll figure out what I'm doing.
Yes. And I don't care what's between me and there.
Right. I'm getting point A to point B.
I'm running.
And when I get to point B,
yeah,
I'm either putting a shot up or I'm kicking it out. Like, it's just like you said yesterday, the physical talent is very, very obvious. But there's just like a control that he doesn't play with. There's like you watch De'Aaron does a great job of this. De'Aaron is always under control when he hits the gas, but he picks his spots when to hit the gas. He's not turbo button all the time. He's playing he's playing
change his speed, change his direction.
Yes.
The basics.
But is under control at all times.
Yes.
Scoot never feels under control.
No, ever.
Dude, take the foot off the gas a little bit.
It's funny.
You have to go 1,000 all the time.
I wanted to say it was a lack of coordination, but I don't think that's what it is. I think it's what you're saying. He doesn't know how to control his speed. He doesn't know how to control change of direction. He's just on full time.
Yeah.
Like,
And he's still what, 20? Is he even 20
he's
yet?
something like that.
I mean, it's not like we're writing off Scoot Henderson, but
no.
He turns 21 in February.
It kind of feels like an announcer that just screams everybody's name the whole time, and like every single play is so exciting, except for they miss shots, and then it's not exciting, and like it's always at this super high level. That's what it looks like with
Henderson.
Stop yelling his name. He didn't do anything.
Overthrown.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, thanks, Gus. Rudy Gay retired. Our last note here. We'll have more on the game from last night, but yeah, Rudy Gay officially retired from the NBA. Rudy Gay, good game. Shout out to Rudy Gay.
Rudy Gay was one of my favorites to cover. I've always said this. Rudy Gay is Switzerland in an NBA locker room. Everyone goes to he gets along with everybody. He always sat in the middle. He always sat in the middle, and he's the guy that like everybody goes to. He's everybody's friend. Everybody enjoys him being on the team. One of my favorite dudes. Just really funny and quirky, but a good dude, and that's what the vibe. He's a vibe dude everyone knows like Rudy's just a good dude, and
Oh yeah.
if you need anything, you can go to him.
I remember the party at the airport when he signed with the Kings. Re-signed with the Kings.
Yes,
re-signed with the Kings.
He re-signed,
and a bunch of people went to the airport to greet him.
I think he opted out of his deal and signed a new 3-year deal, something like that.
Yeah.
I also like when he got traded to the Kings. There was they were doing like a day in the life when that happened up in Toronto. They had a camera crew, and the footage of him getting traded in Toronto to the Kings, they had all of the actual raw footage, and it was spectacular, like absolutely amazing to watch a team like, oh, I can't believe this just happened. And
that's
like,
cool.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta step aside for a second.
All right,
we'll be right back though. Well, if you're on the stream, if you're on youtube.com/ESPN1320, we're not going anywhere. We have bills to pay on the radio side. So we're going to do that. But if you would like to tap in during the break, youtube.com/ESPN1320. All right. The Elk Grove Kia talk line is 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320. If you want to give us your thoughts on the Kings win over the Blazers last night, we'll get James Ham's thoughts, 6 quick ones, actually, coming up next right here on ESPN 1320 and Sacramento Sports Center. Yep.
Drew down. Just trying to start stuff. Hi, Cool Cat. What's going on, everybody? John Bull's got a courtside Kenny story. I don't believe you, John Bull. I'm going to send Kyle over and sock you.
Sir Duckworth or courtside Kenny. Got juice, got work, got wake, got Kenny. Got him, got her, got more, got Benji. Yeah. Top off, getting topped off in the city. Big top dog. We're going to dance on him like this. Pop back, gonna pop back like pretty. Yeah. What's up, Cool Cat?
What's going on, everybody?
I start a couple of messages here. Jill Ad's just dropping fire in the chat.
Leezy, I don't have a Halloween costume yet.
We haven't announced what we're going to be.
Yeah.
Thursday. The Monk Ellis first sub lineup is a 20. There's a net plus 20. Do you think we'll talk about that on air. That's a good question, Jim.
Which one?
This one.
Okay.
Boom, 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 boom.
Zabo, what is your Halloween
Buddy.
costume? Don't leave us hanging.
Buddy.
No, I've said
yes.
He's not better than I expected.
He had 50 last night.
He did, but like, you know who I always compare him to is
LeBron James.
No, Carmelo.
Oh.
Very, very similar style of offensive weapon. Like, I knew he would walk into the league and average 20 a game. And actually, I like had no question saying that, no problem saying that I believed, like, right when he was, even before he was drafted, I didn't care where he went, that he was going to win the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. He is really good player.
Yep.
Hit this. This is kind of wild. Hey, don't talk about my friend Zabo like that. That's so mean. That's a good one.
That's a good one. Kyle, what's your favorite Halloween costume of all time?
Of mine that I've been? In second grade? Was Miss Flora second grade? Second grade. I was a vampire.
Oh.
but I went like all out. Cape, slicked my hair back, spray painted it black, had the makeup with the little blood running down. I was a good ass vampire. Had the fake teeth.
Okay.
Crushed it.
I went as Mr. Rogers one year.
Okay.
I
That tracks.
Very
Mr. Rogers vibe.
I did my hair black and I had a sweater.
And dressed how you normally dress.
And then exactly. And then one time I went as Santa Claus. I built my own Santa Claus suit for Halloween.
Oh, that's sick.
Later in life, I did some silly costumes.
Ooh, don't do that. That's scary.
Oh,
that's a good question from Polo. Did you change your shoes like Mr. Rogers?
I was probably 3rd grade. Probably not.
This is the move. Yeah, Warren says you should go as Carrot Top. Just bring a bucket of props. Oh, hell yeah. It's a good costume. It's a good ass costume.
Mm-hmm. I did go to a Christmas party maybe a decade ago as Officer Dangle. I might have that one hiding somewhere, Kyle. I don't think I want to put it on.
Just goofing. Here. New boot goofing.
Diggs towards ACL. That's the word. Yeah. We saw that. I don't know if you were watching when that happened, but that was very, very clear an ACL tear.
All right, 10 seconds. There we go. Reno 911. Come on.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
That guy right over there is James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We are sponsored by Jiffy Lube. What is this? What are you showing me?
We have some breaking news.
Oh, okay.
The starting 5 for next season. The starting 5, the Netflix series.
My brain is very Kings oriented at the moment.
Yeah.
So when you tell me starting 5 for next season, I was like, they're making a trade?
No, you
What's
know
happening?
The Domantas Sabonis.
Yes. I remember the show now. It was just not.
Of course.
I don't hear starting 5 in the context of a basketball conversation and immediately go, oh, Netflix series.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Go on.
So according to Shams Charania from ESPN,
Sure.
Tyrese Halliburton, of course, James Harden, Kevin Durant, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and
Say what?
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Okay.
There we go. And Brown from the Celtics. Like this,
Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown.
Ooh,
This can be interesting.
Okay, so NBA guru Zach wants us to know that he reported this first.
Oh my goodness. What do you mean you reported it first? Like in the chat? Like
Durant
what is
you had the scoop on Shams, all right?
You got the notification the same time I did?
Scoop.
Oh my gosh.
He scooped him on this. He's plugged in with high level Netflix execs. Kevin Durant will be cool. I'm excited for that because I think Kevin Durant is a very interesting person. And I cannot wait to find out because currently in my brain, here's what I imagine Kevin Durant does. He goes to the gym. He suits up. He plays his game. He goes home. And in my brain, I know this isn't right, but this is just Kevin Durant goes home to a studio apartment that has a bed with no bed frame and like a folding chair and a wall outlet to plug his phone in. And he scrolls Twitter and sits there and maybe there's a basketball hoop in the corner and he shoots. But that's what I can't fathom Kevin Durant doing something other than basketball.
I could see him playing 2K with a headset with a little microphone.
Just talking mad trash.
Yeah, just sitting there playing in a fold-up chair with a gigantic TV and big headphones.
Yeah, so I'm really interested to see what Kevin Durant's life is like off the court. James Harden couldn't care less.
Yeah, James Harden, I just worry that they have to blur out everything around James Harden at all times. Everywhere he goes, it's a blur. Everywhere you're like, oh.
I'm so afraid that James Harden is going to do something endearing that makes me like him.
No.
And I don't want that. I enjoy being a hater in this relationship. This one-way relationship where I focus energy on him and if I died tomorrow, his life wouldn't change. Yeah, that. I want I don't want to like him. So I hope he sucks. Shea will be interesting just because I don't know anything about him. I think Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, is he the best NBA player with the lowest profile?
Him and Fox. And I think
Jaren's a good one.
Fox has, brought that up, but yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's like, he was second in MVP voting last year, and I know zero about him.
Yeah, that's very true. We don't his backstory.
So that'll be interesting. Maybe he's boring, but I don't know.
Maybe we need an origin story. Yeah,
that'll be fun.
What's going on here?
Tyrese Halliburton, I think, is fun. I cannot wait to see Jaylen Brown. Yeah. Jaylen Brown might say some of the wildest stuff we've ever heard on Netflix.
Okay.
And I cannot wait.
Yeah, because he's like the opposite of Jason Tatum.
Yes, he is. This isn't opposite of Jason Tatum. I'm now describing Jaylen Brown because the first thing I'm about to say makes it sound like I'm calling Jason Tatum dumb, and I'm not. Jaylen Brown is extremely smart.
Mm-hmm.
And is into like clearly has a life outside of basketball where he has interests outside of basketball, whether it's politically or whether it's
sure fashion.
Whatever. I know there's like his stuff with Nike. I'm really interested to see if this comes up. I'm fascinated. And how he handles, here's the other thing, separate from all that, how he handles the Jason Tatum side of what his side of the Jason Tatum Jaylen Brown relationship is.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
Because like he's Robin to Tatum's Batman, right? Just in the sense of like the hierarchy of those two players, not necessarily their roles.
I think so, but I also think like they're super close to like dueling Batman.
Right? Yeah. I would agree with you. But if we went to Boston right now and said rank in order Tatum and Brown, it's probably Tatum 1, Brown 2 for 90% of them.
Yeah, well, it'll probably be like more like 65-35, but yeah, I'm with you.
So we always know that from like Tatum's perspective, he just wants to win and this and that, but like I want to know what Jaylen Brown thinks about all this. And what his perspective going into the year is on because we're going to get him. So it's this season. So all the Olympic stuff has happened. So we're going to get some perspective on that, hopefully. And then going into this year is the guy who, he was the finals MVP. He was a conference finals MVP. He did it. He ended up being the guy that Jason Tatum was supposed to be in that run.
Yeah.
And how does he think of all that?
And then he didn't get invited to the Olympics.
Didn't go to the Olympics. I'm just, that's going to be really good. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I think so too. We got sidetracked. Sorry.
No, it's fine. No, that's what we're on the radio for. That's the benefit of live radio programming is when stuff happens, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
We don't have to emergency pod.
When Guru Zach breaks a story, we can dive right into it.
We are gonna be the first ones analyzing that story from our guy NBA Guru Zach in the chat. Salute. YouTube.com/ESPN1320, Twitch.tv/ESPN1320. Speaking of podcasts, this show is live, obviously, from 10 to noon every day.
That's right.
But we also podcast this show. So if there's something you can't catch live, or you want to go back and revisit something, or you just want to help us out with our download numbers, which would be great, subscribe to the James Ham and Kyle Madsen show wherever you get your podcasts. It's not called The Insiders, but that's what it is. They just didn't call it that because of legal things that go over my head.
Yes.
Cool. Wherever you get your podcast, the James Ham and Kyle Madsen show. All right. 6 quick thoughts with James Ham. What are we doing?
How'd yesterday's Kings game go?
Really well.
Kings insider James Ham has 6 notes you need to know. Yeah. Here are James Ham's 6 quick thoughts.
And James Ham number 1.
DeMar DeRozan carried this team. The game got all mucked up, and I thought he stepped up in a game that no one else was able to sort of capture what was happening, and became the guy early in the game. 17 or 19 first half points. really did a good job of carrying this team, picking them up when they needed it.
It's exactly what we talked about with DeMar DeRozan when they picked him up. They didn't need a number 1 scoring option. They might have not even needed a number 2 scoring option, but an experienced Hall of Famer whose elite skill is getting a bucket when his team needs it.
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly like last night was the quintessential DeMar DeRozan game.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the fact that the Kings have one of those guys right now is really huge.
Yep. Number 2.
Number 2, Fox hits 10,000 points for his career.
Yeah, good for De'Aaron.
Like, look, if De'Aaron Fox is going to stick around long term, which I think he will, and I hope that he does, he will hold almost every single one of the Kings records. He came into the season 72 games behind Jason Thompson for the all-time leader in games played in the Sacramento era. So he's now 69 games away from being the all-time leader in games played.
Mm-hmm.
This is just one of those milestones. He's the 5th Sacramento King. Well, no, the 5th King in franchise history to reach the 10,000 point plateau.
Really cool.
Yeah, good stuff.
Shout out to De'Aaron Fox. We'll have more on this later.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3.
Kevin Huerter's back. I think that Kevin Huerter looks like Kevin Huerter from 2 years ago, and that makes his team much more interesting. And like realistically, all of a sudden, if you can add another really good scorer and a great 3-point shooter to what they already have going, then it just makes his team better.
This is why there was so much urgency around him. Mm-hmm. This is why there was so much angst about like, hey, what the hell's going on with Kevin Huerter? Should he still be starting? What is he doing here? Is because like, hey, when he's on like this, it takes the Kings to a little bit different level.
Well, and this is also, Kyle, why you don't give up on him.
Yep.
I mean, that's the tough thing. If he's 26 years old, this is why you don't just like go
give him away.
No, just give him away.
Yeah.
And a lot of people wanted to do that. No,
mm-hmm.
Let's see if we can get Kevin Huerter back to being the dude he was 2 years ago.
Number 4.
Number 4. Sabonis is 5 of 9 from 3 over his 3 games. He had another double-double, but to me, it's he's a willing 3-point shooter, and he was really good. He didn't put up the triple. He got close to a triple-double. If the Kings' offense was flowing at all in the first half, he would have had triple-double. I thought he was really good, and he's been great in the first 3 games.
Averaging 3 3-point attempts per game is this is exactly what I was looking for.
That's what it is. Yeah, he doesn't need to be 5.
Nope.
Or 6. No,
if he gets
3,
to 5 or 6
3.5
every now and then, great.
Yeah.
But averaging 3 a game, that is exactly like, yes.
Yeah, I think he's going to fight that. Like, he's not going to try to ever get to 6, but you never know. I mean, you play Gobert a couple more times.
Well, if you're knocking him down, like you're hurting the team by not shooting him.
No, I agree.
Good for Domas. Number 4.
Keon plays 14 minutes. You know what, Kyle? In this one, number 1, Keon hit a baseline, a corner 3, which I thought, okay, really good for him. But the big play that he had was, I think he came away with a steal, and then the ball got stripped, and then he dove on the floor and fought for the possession. That's the Keon Ellis that we need to see. Like what we've seen what we saw in the first game, what we saw in the preseason, did not feel like the Keon Ellis from last year. In the same way that Kevin Huerter didn't feel like himself all last season. So it's good to see Keon not only like be productive in his minutes, but find a way to like get back to who he is at his core.
Yep. We'll have more on Keon Ellis coming up in a bit as well. Last one, number 6.
The bench is Malik Monk and no one else at this point.
Oh boy.
And it's a little rough, and you're hoping that that's not going to be the case. But, Keon had 3 points. Alex Len might have had a bucket, but it was 12 of 18 points from the bench was Malik Monk before they went to, the group late in the game, and Doug McDermott hit the 2 threes.
They got outscored 48-24 by the Blazers bench.
Yeah, and again, take away like 6 of those because that was McDermott after the game was basically over. Yeah, the bench, like, you got to figure it out, and Trey Lyles is trying so hard to figure it out. And I don't know if you saw, he got really frustrated last night and ripped his shirt off, his jersey off. He said that we asked him about it in post game, and he said it was just way too tight. Like he got on the court and was like like couldn't breathe because his jersey was too tight, and so he literally ripped it off and had to go get a new jersey and came back out. I asked him if it was a schmedium. He goes, "Yeah, it was a schmedium," and like I was not feeling it. Wild.
That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. The Sacramento Kings back in action tonight against the Utah Jazz. We are sponsored by Jiffy Lube. The Kings 3-0 against the Jazz last season. The Jazz 0-3 to start this year. They're firmly on Cooper flag watch. And they lost last night. The Jazz also coming off a back-to-back. They lost to the Mavs last night. 110-102. And I got to tell you, man, we talked about it. We've talked about the Blazers, right? And being just, we talked about this yesterday. The Blazers are just kind of an odd collection of players. That's what it feels like the Jazz are. The Jazz are just this odd amalgamation of NBA players where, yeah, they got some really nice pieces, but I don't know, A, how they fit together, or B, that they'll fit together.
That, and they don't even have like an age arc. And so it's not just like an odd collection of players, but you got like Walker Kessler's like what, 21, 22.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Lauri Markkanen, who's like, I think he's 27, 28. And you got John Collins, who's 26, 27. But then you've got, Jordan Clarkson, who's older. Nothing feels like it's like moving in the right direction.
They have a bunch of guys who, in their age range, had they been playing together for 2 or 3 years now, and they were all kind of moving the same way, you'd feel good about it. But it's like Lauri Markkanen is 27, you said?
It's either 27 or 28. He is 27. He is
right,
27.
and they're not even in year one of, okay, this is the core. This is what the team is.
Yeah.
It's like Keontae George is a nice little player, for sure.
He's 20.
But, right.
Yeah.
He's probably a year or two away.
Uh-huh.
And by the time he's there, you've got 30-year-old Lauri Markkanen. Colin Sexton, I think, kind of is what he is at this point. I don't know if they know exactly what they want to do with him, as far as whether he's a starting point guard or if he should be coming off the bench. Walker Kessler is a good player who's developing, but it's like everybody's on just a little bit different timeline where, like, we look at the Kings, we go, all right, Keegan Murray, De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Malik Monk for the next like 3, 4, 5 years, like minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel really good about that core going into that call it 5-year window. With the Jazz, I just don't.
Yeah, by the time any of their young players get up to speed and start really taking the leap, the other guys are going to be like in the middle of their prime. And that's just kind of strange. Even I like some of their pieces. Like I would take
Jordan Clarkson's 32.
Yeah. Cody Williams. I like Cody Williams. But he's not even 20 yet. And, he might have to start tonight. I like Keontae George. They've got some really nice pieces.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, like you have to have a game plan. And what they're waiting for is all their draft picks. And which is crazy because they're sitting on Markkanen as like an asset. They're sitting on Sexton as an asset.
Yeah.
And
for what?
It's almost like they're waiting to cash them in for more draft picks when it comes time for the young group to move up. But I don't know that that's ever going to happen. So, yeah, really interesting build.
And they Markkanen signed his extension with them on the date where he now can't be traded this year.
Oh, no, he cannot be traded at all this season.
So they're wasting this entire year of like the middle of his prime not trading him.
Yeah. It's very strange.
I have no idea. Like Danny Ainge is obviously smarter than me, but I would love to sit down with him and figure out what's your plan here?
Yeah.
Why didn't you move Markkanen this offseason?
It does feel like they don't really have an overall game plan, except for all the draft picks that they have coming up. And they have a ton of draft picks, but the problem is when you give away good players to teams, they're usually good after that. So, like, if you've got a bunch of Cleveland Cavalier draft picks and they're the number 2 team in the Eastern Conference, that's probably not a very good draft pick. It's not an earth-shattering, like, franchise-altering draft pick. And so, like, what's the value? And, yeah, I'm intrigued to see what happens. The same thing with the picks they got from Minnesota in the Gobert deal. Okay. Minnesota.
Great. You got a bunch of late first round picks.
Yeah, you got a bunch of 22, 23, 25, whatever, draft picks.
So I was in on the idea of the Kings moving their draft picks this offseason.
Yeah.
Like, dude, over the next couple of years, you're going to
be good.
Should be late in the first round anyways.
Yeah.
The Jazz have not been good now for the last couple of years. The Kings took advantage big time last season. I mentioned they were 3-0. 58 points. They were a plus 58 in 3 games against the Jazz.
Yeah. And the closest game was 16. They won by 16 in the closest game. But look, you got 2 teams playing on the second night of a back-to-back.
Mm-hmm.
Strangely enough, this is the 3rd game in a row that the Kings are playing a team on the second night of a back-to-back. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, the Lakers, Portland was on the second night of back-to-back. Now Utah. This is the first time the Kings will be on the second night of a back-to-back. But remember last year, the Kings couldn't win a back-to-back early in the season. They kept losing the second night of a back-to-back. I think it was 4 or 5 in a row to open the season. So they've got to figure out how to win these games because they've got 2 here in the next week.
Yeah. Let's take a look at lineups for tonight. We know the Kings starters: Fox, Herter, DeRozan, Murray, and Sabonis. The Jazz starters is going to be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
So we figure Colin Sexton starts, Keontae George starts, Lauri Markkanen and Walker Kessler in the front court.
Yep.
But that third front court spot is now a question after a really gruesome injury last night for Taylor Hendricks. Don't go seek it out if you're squeamish.
No,
if you're an absolute sicko, then go ahead and go find it. It was I read Sarah Todd of the Deseret News, 2022 Utah Sports Writer of the Year, a friend of the program. I was reading her timeline last night, trying to get some notes on the Jazz, and she described in words the injury.
Oh yeah,
and I'm out.
He just
no parts.
I don't even know what happened. Like, it was one of the strange for an NBA player. Like we're talking about earlier, Stephon Diggs tore his ACL. If you were watching the Texans play and you saw Stephon Diggs go to make a little bit of a cut and you just saw his knee buckle in, it's like, oh, he's done, right? But what Taylor Hendricks was doing, he ran down to one end of the court, almost like he was doing like a line drill. He gets near the baseline and he takes a step and his leg buckles and snaps, and like it was a dislocation, a dislocated ankle, in addition to bad breaks in the lower leg. No one around him, not even like a weird jump or anything else, just like all of a sudden his leg turned into a noodle, or like right there on the court, like really horrible to see. So big thoughts and prayers up to him, because that's a year. That's at least a year, and they had big hopes for him.
Fractured right fibula and dislocated ankle.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely bizarre.
Yeah, Sarah Todd was saying that players after the game were in shock.
Yeah. You see one of those injuries
really
in person, and you don't want to ever see one again. It's gruesome, horrible. Yeah.
So definitely sending our thoughts to Taylor Hendricks. Hope for a speedy recovery from him and a long career after this devastating injury. It looks like Cody Williams is probably going to start.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that they're going to go with a rookie and Cody Williams, who, like, I really liked him as a player.
Now's the time. Get your young guys in.
Yeah, you might as well do it.
She also noted that it would probably move Kyle Filipowski, the rookie from Duke. But a fascinating offseason.
Fascinating.
A fascinating last few years for Kyle Filipowski.
Yeah. Go ahead and look that story up.
Yeah, go. We're not going to dive into it here, but it is a wild one.
Wild.
That I never saw anything like really confirmed or any hard reporting on it, which is why we didn't talk about it a lot. But there's been a little bit of reporting out there, and if you want to go seek that out, feel free to do so. But he figures to be in the rotation as well. For the Kings, no changes to the injury report. Orlando Robinson, Devin Carter, and
just those 2 are out.
Yes.
But I would say, like, Orlando is getting closer.
Oh,
like, he's definitely getting closer. I've checked in on him. They thought it would be at the 4-week mark, he's going to get reevaluated. There's a good chance that he'll be like pushing to get closer to the court at that point. But what that means, I don't know, because you have Domantas Sabonis and Alex Len in front of him at the center position.
Who is your matchup of the game tonight?
This is a tough one. I think I'm going to go with Keegan Murray versus Lauri Markkanen.
That's a good one.
Because I think Keegan did a great job of defending Markkanen last time. They played even in preseason, and I want to see if he can do it again in a regular season setting.
Yeah, Markkanen just 4 of 15 from the field last night.
Mm.
Yeah, 17 points, 9 boards, 2 assists. That'll be a good one. I've got Malik Monk against Jordan Clarkson.
Yes, love it.
Jordan Clarkson for a long time was the kind of premier sixth man prototype, and now I think we're seeing Malik Monk kind of take over that role. We just talked about the importance of bench scoring, and those two going at it could be a lot of fun. Both really capable six men of taking over the game.
Yeah, I love watching both of them play.
Yeah,
they're so lightning quick. They have their mid-range jump shots are incredible. They're just super athletes, and they're super fun to watch. And Jordan Clarkson's busted up the Kings a bunch of times.
And the way he's settled into that six-man role has been really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Shout out to Jordan Clarkson. Shout out to Malik Monk. That's my matchup of the game tonight. Also want to remind you, we have World Series baseball. The Dodgers looking to sweep the New York Yankees.
Oof.
That's coming up tonight. Coverage begins at 4:30. He's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We got plenty more Kings coming up for you right here on the on ESPN 1320. We are sponsored by Jiffy Lube. This is Sacramento Sports Center. We're clear.
Sweet. Oh. Yeah. If you're ever in a building when something like that happens, like the Taylor Hendricks thing, absolutely horrific. Yeah, Drew Down. I think, Freddie Freeman is probably the MVP right now. I just like that Friday, the Grand Slam. What a great moment. Like, especially for him and his family. I absolutely loved it. I don't know if we need to say F the Dodgers. I'm not a fan of either one of these teams. I'm going to go turn on this computer over here.
And maybe
Computer.
Oh yeah. All right. I'll never forgive the Yankees unless they come back and make this a series. I'll never forgive them. I didn't care really who won. I didn't care who won as much as I cared about this being like a really, really good series.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer how it's
Game 1 was great, and then it just never felt like the Yankees were in any of their games. Also, Aaron Judge has been abominable. He's like, I feel like I'm letting my team down. Like, you are. Imagine I just don't send our show live one day, and I'm like, wow, I really feel like I let the station down. Like, you did. You 1,000%
Well,
did.
yeah, maybe.
Your one job. Oh, good morning, Tasha. Hello. Hell yeah. Stingers up, baby.
Oh.
James Outman was after my time calling games at Sac State.
Okay. Great baseball name, though.
Oh, boy. He is going to be on one scooter.
Oh,
I'm not, dude. AA, look, here's the deal. I know that I said this to, who did I say? Oh, I said this to Jake Aiden the other day. And he was like, he's not going to the Dodgers. Stop. But it's like, yo, Shohei deferred the $68 million so they could build a competitive team. Like, he wants to win. And the Dodgers have an endless supply of dollars. And they have Teoscar Hernandez is a free agent after this year. He's going to go get a nice payday somewhere. It might be the Dodgers. Maybe they just love Teo and they want to keep him. But they're going to make a run at Soto. Bet.
Yeah.
Like, that's absolutely a thing that's going to happen.
Wild.
Whether they can get him or not, I don't know, because his price tag might get even a little costly for them.
Mm-hmm.
But it would not shock me. If I'm betting on it, I think he goes to the Yankees. I think he stays in New York if I'm betting on it.
Yeah.
But the Dodgers will be mentioned with Juan Soto. They might even have I bet they have a meeting with him too.
It's funny. There are, for some reason, a lot of Yankee fans in Sacramento media. So, excuse me. Watching Jake lose his mind last night was spectacular. And messing with Frankie every day is
Oh,
great.
that's right.
Yeah. I'm just here to be a harbinger of hate towards them, just like to mess with them at all times. Don't forget to do your time card, Kyle.
That's tomorrow. For Thursday.
Well, yeah, we got a reminder today.
I have a reminder set on my phone.
Oh.
Shout out to the homie Chase, man. Yeah, my guy Chase Yukawa committed to Cal State Fullerton to golf.
Oh.
For the Titans. Hell yeah. Shout out to Chase, man. That's dope. Kid's been a gangster since he was like, I've known him since he was like 10.
Just like a great
12.
golfer.
He was older than that.
Great golfer kid.
Well, yeah, he's always been really good. His dad's an awesome golfer too, Chris. But yeah, played baseball, really good baseball player growing up, really good at basketball, and then just settled on golf, and he's just a freaking gangster. All right, here we go. Hour number 2. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. Thank you, everybody listening on the radio on ESPN 1320 AM. Maybe you're listening on the free Odyssey app. Thank you. And everybody who is watching on YouTube and Twitch and the Chatty House at youtube.com/ESPN 1320 and twitch.tv/ESPN 1320. We appreciate you so very much. If you want to join the show, you can at 916-909-1320. That is 916-909-1320. Mitch is on the line.
Oh,
I want to get back to the Kings. Do we think Mitch is going to talk Kings? He's going to have Kings thoughts.
He's versatile.
He's got thoughts on his Kings.
I think so.
All right, because we don't have a call screener. If you're unfamiliar with the program, our calls just go directly to me, and I'm talking, so obviously I can't. There's no phone in here, so I can't pick it up and be like, "Hello, who's this? What do you want to talk about?" So we just guess. But I'm going to trust Mitch here, and I'm going to let Mitch kick off our hour number 2 Sacramento Kings conversation after their 111-98 win over the Blazers. Yeah?
All right.
It works?
I'm here for it.
Mitch, you're on the Insiders. What's up?
Kyle, James, how you guys doing?
Doing great.
I'll end it with the Dodgers. I'll start with the Kings, and I'll end it with the Dodgers. How's that?
My man, staying on topic. I love it.
Also, something about Josh Gibson. Somebody keeps sending me a message on the chat. I see Kevin Herter had a good game, so we can lay off him. You got to keep him in the start lineup. Otherwise, our start lineup is too small. Keegan's got to pick it up. That was a good win yesterday. I think, Poland and Utah, they're thinking about a flag. I think that's going to be in their mind the whole day. But it's nice to see some of these teams are letting their young players play. And flag falls to them. It's like he's going to be the Shohei Ohtani of basketball. But I think I've gone off the tracks already. It was a good win. I want to see more from Trey Lyles and also Mr. Lemire. We're waiting for years for those guys. And
you want to see a little more from the bench.
I'm sorry?
You want to see a little bit more from the bench guys.
Right. And at least 10 minutes from every player. Rest your starters. It's a long season. Okay. And with the Dodgers, season's over. Yankees should just wave the white flag. Why even play? Someone get hurt. Just hand it over. I say we have a parade in New York, too. not just me being. There's a few Dodger fans in New York City, and Josh Gibson, one of the greatest catches in the Negro leagues. Okay,
Thanks.
I got it out. I said it right. Thank you for taking my call. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Mitch.
Mitch. What are you gonna do? You know?
I don't know.
Yeah, the Yankees are toast.
We got breaking news. The Kings have once again assigned Colby Jones to the Stockton Kings.
Is Colby Jones the Shohei Ohtani of the Stockton Kings?
It's
Some are
possible.
saying.
Some are saying.
Who did he say was going to be the Shohei of basketball?
I don't know who he's saying. Oh, Cooper Flag, I think. Maybe?
Oh, did he?
Maybe.
Okay, that would make sense.
Okay. Well, you brought up Cooper Flag with Portland and Utah. What are we calling it? Capture the Flag?
Capture the Flag. I
love
think it's
it.
good. Although capture sounds.
Did you ever play Capture the Flag?
Yeah,
when
of
you were a
course I
kid?
played
Oh,
Capture the Flag. Come
I
on.
loved it.
Loved it. Here's. I don't love it though. Capture the Flag. The game is great. I don't love the hashtag or the like mantra because like you're drafting the person.
Yeah.
You're like, it sounds like you're kidnapping the guy and like holding him hostage. You're gonna pay.
Well, you are for the first 4 years.
You're paying him millions of dollars.
I mean, pretty much for 8 years, you are basically holding him hostage.
I guess, man. Yeah, Cooper Flag. He is a player who will be in play for the Utah Jazz come draft time for sure. De'Aaron Fox got to 10,000 points last night. You mentioned this in your 6 quick thoughts, which you can read on Twitter at. You can read more on that on Twitter at James_Ham NBA. Also, subscribe to the Kings Beat, kingsbeat.com, and the Kings Beat podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Is De'Aaron already on the Mount Rushmore of Sacramento Kings? So you have 4 spots.
He's super close.
And I don't like I'm talking Sacramento Kings. I don't care about like Oscar Robertson is not here.
Yeah, I actually, you know what? I am gonna say yes, he is. Yeah, because if you go position by position, you know, I think Mitch Richmond, of course, Chris Webber, of course.
Okay.
And then it becomes like, who's next?
Vlade?
Peja? Maybe Vlade, maybe Peja. But and DeMarcus, 6.5 years. I mean, he was really good. I don't know though, because if we do, like, I'm not giving anyone from like 1985 to
no
until Mitch Richmond.
No,
like no one before that. Reggie Theus isn't getting on Mount Rushmore. I know like some people like Mike Bibby or Peja that.
Yeah,
but I'm probably gonna put him on there. It's probably gonna be. I'd probably go Peja and De'Aaron at this point. Either way, he will end up being on it.
So you get so AA in the chat says he has they I don't know if it's he. They have 5. Mitch, Weber, Peja, Fox, and Sabonis.
Okay, if we're doing a starting 5, then he's for sure in the starting
Yeah, he's
5.
in the but that's not what I asked.
Yeah.
It's a Mount Rushmore, you get 4. Toy Rizzo says Peja should definitely be there.
Yeah. I mean, again, Peja was the all-time leader in games played, all-time leader in 3-point makes until Jason Thompson passed him for all-time games played and Buddy Hield passed him for all-time 3-pointers. But I definitely think Peja is there, especially since he's part of the great run. And there's no question Richmond is there. Then I think it really does come down to like DeMarcus Cousins or De'Aaron Fox. Like at a certain point, I believe Domantas Sabonis will surpass whatever DeMarcus was, just because you'll win.
So are Richmond and Weber locked into the top 2?
Oh yeah, without any question. Yeah, because they're both surefire Hall of Famers just for their time in Sacramento. Like Chris Webber would not have made the Hall if his career continued on the path it was before. And Mitch Richmond played his prime here. Right. And
it's not a Vince Carter situation.
Yeah, maybe he would have made the Hall either way with the Warriors or some other team, but he definitely, like, his best 8 years as a pro, most of his All-Star appearances and all that were here in Sacramento.
And this is interesting. So Security Bagley says Peja is not better than Fox. Yeah, probably not from a pure basketball standpoint, but he was on a team that won playoff series.
Well, yeah, and I mean he was an
MVP
on a team candidate at one point.
Yeah, he was on a team that was the best team in the league in 2002. Like it just that's why I'm not necessarily disagreeing that Fox is a better player, quote unquote, than Page in a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're talking about Rushmore, to me, you have to factor in like level of success achieved. And that's why there's even a question to Fox. I think by the time this all ends, by the time Fox's career ends, hopefully 15, 20 years down the road, we're looking at the best Sacramento King of all time, like bar none, hands down. He's on the Mount Rushmore in the number 1 spot, Sabonis number 2 behind him.
Yeah, that would be but that's going to be really tough. I mean, to surpass Weber or to surpass Richmond, Fox isn't there yet. He hasn't surpassed either one of those guys. And whether he gets there or not, I mean, he will lead in most statistical categories if he sticks around forever. I mean, again, he's got a year and a half left, almost 2 years left on his contract now. But he'll surpass most of their big time, records. And so, yeah, I guess that's why you would put him on, because he'll own all the records. But I need to see the wins that come with that.
I'm going Page to 3, Fox 4.
Okay. For right now, that's fine with me.
I feel good about that.
And so
with Domas right there.
Yeah. And in all honesty, I mean, Page is a 3-time All-Star. He was 4th in MVP balloting in the 03-04 season.
Wow.
Averaging 24 points a game. I believe personally that Page is a Hall of Famer, and I don't even need the European vote to get him in, but I think he will get in on the
Veterans Committee,
the international vote.
Oh yeah,
he'll get in on the international vote for his when they got together the Yugoslavian team in like 2002 and won gold. He's going to be thought of as a European player in the league. So he'll get in one way or another. I believe. I would be surprised if he wasn't.
I'm surprised he's not already.
Yeah,
I mean, really freaking good, man.
Well, when he retired, he was 3rd all time in 3-point makes, behind Reggie Miller, and I can't remember who the other was.
Right. Kenny Caraway weighing in.
Oh,
we'll get to Kenny's answer here in a second, because somebody's on the Elk Grove Kia talk line at 916-909-1320. That's 916-909-1320. Who is on your Kings Mount Rushmore, and is De'Aaron Fox now there that he's at 10,000 points, or was he there before that? Don, you're on the air with the Insiders. That's James and Kyle. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Kyle? Hammer, y'all got me clear?
Yep, we got you. What's up?
Hey, what's up, bro? Hey, check it out. Hey, I think I'm going to go through this list real quick, and you guys can agree or disagree, right? So this is my top 10. Put it in any order. I got Webb. I got Mitch. I got Bibby, Doug, Peja, Vlade, Bobby, Fox, Boogie. In that last spot, that 10th spot, you can either put Brad Miller or Scott Pollard, in my opinion.
Okay. Do you have a off the rip top 4? That's the game we're playing.
My top 4. I'm gonna go Fox, Weber, Mitch. Oh man, y'all got me, Kyle. That last spot, bro, because it's
tough.
Can go to anybody. Because it all depends on your feelings on who you want to go. Some people might go Bobby. Some people might go Doug.
Doug's
that last spot, but those top 3 are right there. Weber, Fox, and who did I say?
You have Fox, Weber, and Mitch Richmond.
Yeah.
That's the top 3 right there, Hammer. That 4th spot, you know how it is out here, Hammer. Everybody got their own feelings about people. Somebody might say, oh, Doug. Somebody might say, Bobby, Mike. You get me? I'm not talking about the old school guys like 85. I'm not talking about
no. They're out of the conversation.
Newer age guys. Yeah, period. But that's all I got.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks, TC. Appreciate it. He gave us a top 10, but couldn't give us a top 4. Come on,
that
TC.
in his top 10 didn't have Domas.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yikes.
You omitted one.
TC wants to trade Domas. So Kenny Caraway weighed in, of D'Lo and KC fame, also of KSFM fame from 3 to 7. It's not weird, but I've listened to KSFM as long as I've been driving my car, right? And it's so funny because that's just the radio station that's on in my car, or the FM station that's on in my car. And it's so funny driving around in the afternoon and it's D-Lo and KC on KSFM. It's like, oh, hey, I know those guys.
I know them.
It's so fun.
I know them.
Kenny Caraway.
I heard you on 96.9 this morning on my way in.
Oh, nice. I'm not on that radio station. It's a little sports update.
I know. You did your sports update.
Yeah, man. De'Aaron Fox is Kenny Caraway's Sacramento Kings Mount Rushmore. De'Aaron Fox, Mitch Richmond, DeMarcus Cousins, Chris Webber. He said, end of story. Fox has passed Mitch. Wow. Kenny, if you're still listening, please come in for the handoff and come in as early as you want because I would love to discuss this further.
Okay.
I'm very, very interested in that entire conversation. We will continue that as well, but we're going to put a pin in that for the moment. I'm going to talk a little Kings Jazz. With James Ham, I'm Kyle Madsen. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube, the Sacramento Kings taking on the Utah Jazz tonight in Salt Lake City. You got to get this one, man. This is the start of a stretch of schedule. This is a 4-game road trip where you should go 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
If I gave you 3-1, would you take it or would you shoot for 4-0? Because you have Utah, then you've got Atlanta, then you've got Toronto, and then you close it out with Miami.
I'm going to say I would take 3-1 right now because the road trip is stupid.
It's a weird ass road trip.
Like, I don't want to, like, whoever made the schedule, this is not okay. So they go from Utah to Atlanta?
Yes, Utah, then 2 days off.
2 days off, then they go Atlanta, then they play back-to-back all the way up in Toronto. That's not close.
That is a far flight.
And then they fly all the way back down to play Miami. I don't know what's going on there.
How are you not going Utah to Toronto to Atlanta to Miami and back?
Or how are you not going Utah to Miami to Atlanta to Toronto and back? Like something.
And the 2 days off are for the Utah to whatever.
Come on.
I'm not a schedule maker. But
that just it doesn't make
it like, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
You'd take 3-1 on this road trip because then you come home and you get Toronto again on next Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Like you gotta go. That's 4-1 minimum to me. If you're gonna be if you're gonna be a force in the Western Conference and not just a team that's hanging around in the Western Conference, you need to go dominate this road trip.
Yeah.
The Jazz are also on the second night of a back-to-back. So that can't be an excuse. And you had a mostly easy night last night against Portland, where you could coast in the later stages of the game.
Yep.
Atlanta is talented, but the Kings should be better than them, especially with a couple days off.
Yeah.
Toronto is in the midst of a rebuild. That's not a great team. And then Miami is they're just there. They're a back end of the playoffs in the East.
Back end playoffs in the East is nowhere near what back end of the playoffs in the West is like. Yeah. It's 953.8 miles from Atlanta to Toronto. Like
so far.
Like it's 1,000 miles. You're adding 2,000 miles to the trip for no reason. Like I don't understand. Like that should be a 6,000 mile trip, and instead it's an 8,000 mile trip.
You know, on ESPN, that's such a weird scheduling quirk.
Yeah.
What an odd thing. You know, on ESPN where they have the ticket link and it says tickets as low as some amount. So against Oklahoma City at Golden One Center, it says tickets as low as $35. Brooklyn, tickets as low as $30. At the Clippers, tickets as low as $44. Tonight in Utah, it says tickets as low as $4. You can get in the building for $4? I fly to Utah and go to the game.
I know. That's crazy.
I'm not flying to Utah. That'd be insane.
No. The Kings did not have a sellout last night, Kyle.
Really?
16,800 or something? 16,600? Yeah, they were short of the sellout last night, which is surprising.
That's understandable. It's early in the week.
16,426 is what the final box says.
Yeah, it's early in the week. It's Portland. Yeah, all right, that's fine.
All right.
Kings fans, you're absolved of not selling out Golden One Center against the Portland Trailblazers on a Monday in October.
Okay.
You're forgiven. Let's get to keys to victory tonight. How do the Sacramento Kings beat the Utah Jazz and avoid an upset. James Ham, key number 1.
They need to start the trip the right way. I mean, a 4-game trip, and this trip is all over the place. You need to get off on the right foot. Utah's not a good team. And look, I know there's this weird thing that NBA teams talk about, but the road is a really, really good place to bond and get on the same page as a team. And I think a 4-game road trip like this over 8 days early in the season is just what this team needs. And so get out there, bond, go out to dinner together, go catch movies together, whatever it is.
Hit that Salt Lake City nightlife.
Yeah, go hit the Salt Lake City night. No, they won't even stay in Salt Lake City. They'll get into Atlanta in the middle of the night or whatever. I would think. I think they'll fly out. I don't think they'll stay next.
Oh yeah, because I guess they flew last night.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, you're right.
Yeah, so they'll spend a couple of days in Atlanta, which I don't know if that's ever a great thing, but this is a good time for them to bond as a group.
Indeed. Speaking of being a team, bad transition, non sequitur. I need a team effort on the glass tonight. Walker Kessler is a large human
giant.
Lauri Markkanen, giant. Kyle Filipowski is playing. He's what, 7'2"?
I don't know.
He's a hoss. He's a big boy. John Collins, good rebounder. I need bodies on the glass. Get in the crash zone. Keon Ellis might be a little undersized against somebody. Box somebody out. I need Keegan Murray staying active on the glass. I need Kevin Huerter staying active. This is one of those nights where Domantas Sabonis is going to go get his 13, 14, 15, however many he's going to get. But you can't let Utah come down with extra possessions with offensive boards, and on the other side, go steal another couple possessions. You had 9 offensive rebounds last night against Portland, who is the tallest team in the league, literally by numbers. I need to see something similar tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Number 2 for you.
Number 2 for me. Continue to find balance. This team they're struggling to know when to go and when to pass the ball, and you can see the push and the pull happening every single day, every single quarter. At some point, this needs to start to smooth itself out, and I think being on the road will help, but also the conversations need to happen with this team where they're getting on the same page and they're feeling like everyone's involved. And so I want to see more of this balance thing happening.
Yeah. That's going to be a must. And I think that might be something that we talk about really all season, where, they figure it out for the most part, but there's just a game here and there where, when I first started driving, I was really scared to accelerate it all at once. I was so afraid of and so I would accelerate, and the car would just kind of lurch forward a little bit as I was getting used to the gas pedal. That's a little bit how the Kings offense feels sometimes.
Yeah.
Where they're just not quite 100% confident in, okay, everybody hit the gas at the same time.
Yeah, it feels like there's some grinding of gears and stuff. Yeah, they're just not quite there. And that's okay. If they were right,
call me at Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. They shouldn't look right at this point in the season. They have too many moving pieces that are still trying to acclimate to each other.
Yeah. Call me. If we're talking about this on December 27th, then maybe we can talk about a problem. But right now, I don't think it's a huge issue. Just got to continue taking strides forward. Number 2 for me, I need somebody else to contribute off the bench. Malik Monk is going to do Malik Monk stuff, but can I get Trey Lyles going a little bit? Can I get Keon Ellis knocking down a couple of threes? Can I get anything off maybe it's Jordan McLaughlin coming in and cashing a couple threes. I don't know. I needed somebody other than Malik Monk providing some kind of scoring punch from the bench.
Kyle, this was always one of the reasons why I thought Keon Ellis as a starter and Kevin Huerter off the bench made more sense.
Sure.
Just because Kevin Huerter is a better scorer, and just straight up, he would give you an offensive weapon off the bench. As of right now, this team lacks that extra person, and I don't know how you fix that. Because squeezing a guy like Doug McDermott into your rotation is not going to be easy, but that might be one of those logical solutions if you need more pop. But you can't continuously just get outscored off your bench by big numbers. It's not good.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big one tonight, especially against a team with Jordan Clarkson.
That's right.
Who is liable to go for 30. Number 3.
My number 3 is exactly that. Don't let John Collins and Jordan Clarkson ruin your night.
There it is.
Don't let it happen.
Yeah. Make John Collins look like John Collins.
They're both really good offensive players.
Yes.
Just Don't let them go off.
Yeah. Number 3 for me. Get those threes up, man. I need the Kings shooting 3-pointers, especially against the Jazz. 2 of the Kings' 5 best 3-point shooting performances last year came against Utah. They had a game where they shot 49% and another one where they shot 50.
Make it rain.
I need 40 plus tonight from the Kings. Preferably something closer to 50. Get those 3-point shots up. Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray. I know DeMar's not going to shoot a bunch, but can we get Domas 3 or 4? Can we get De'Aaron 8, 9 in that range? That's what I would like to see tonight from the Kings.
Yes, definitely.
That's our keys to victory. If the Kings do those things, they're going to go into Utah and walk out with a win. What is your prediction for tonight? Do they get a victory?
I think they do. I think this is going to be one of those games where they figured it out. They figure it out, and again, a 15, 16 point, 12 point win, something like that. I think this team is starting to find itself.
Yeah, second night of a back-to-back, going to Utah, sneaky elevation in Utah. But both teams, because Utah was in Dallas last night, so both teams traveling to Utah overnight. I think it's going to be a little bit of a slow finish with both teams on tired legs. I'm going to go Kings 109. Nope. Yeah, Kings 109, Jazz 94.
Ooh,
and I think it's another comfortable kind of win where they control it the whole way.
Yeah, I'm going to say 114, 102.
So we're both in the 12 to 14 range.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. That's what I want to see. I don't care what the margin of victory is. I just need to see him control the game against a lesser team. All right. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We have World Series baseball tonight as the Dodgers look to close out the Yankees in a sweep. First pitch slated for 5:08 right here on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader.
Sorry, a bit distracted at the end. This news coming out of the 49ers is absolutely horrendous. Chivarius Ward lost his 1-year-old daughter, Amani Joy. Just absolute sin and love to Chivarius and Monique. Just absolutely horrendous. Not good. Brutal. Sorry, we got a little quiet there. Just reading on what's happening here. Oh, trade. Carolina is sending wide receiver Deontay Johnson to the Baltimore Ravens. I think that's a nice pickup.
$21.51. Perfect. Yeah, man. Thoughts out to Travarius Ward. That is fucking horrible, man.
Yeah, just absolutely brutal. Yuck.
Like they probably could have, but I don't think they were Deontay Johnson away.
You see Deuce and Mo dressed up as John Tesh, Roundball
Yes,
Rock.
so funny. Basketball. And you know I'm on my way, and I'm gonna dunk it. I have seen Paul Marshall from 98 Rock walk past our window the same direction like 4 times. But I've never seen him walk past the other direction.
I think he's
It's like
going
he's doing circles
the
around
side door. The side door.
Shout out to everybody who's donated socks, by the way. That sock bin filled up super quick.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I need to add socks.
My friend Alina donated socks from Kentucky.
Ooh.
Yeah, she hit me up on Instagram and she was like, "Are you still taking socks?" I was like, "Yes." She's like, "What's the Addy?"
Nice.
I'm right here with Brian, the garden guy. Oh, the garden guy. Oh, I see you, garden guy. Salute.
Oh. Oh.
Do we have a timeline on Orlando Robinson?
Yeah, they're reevaluating him at the 1 month mark, which, to be honest with you, let me see. Orlando.
Oh yeah, Tasha.
He was hurt on 10/5. Well, on third. No, he was hurt on October 3rd. He's going to be So we're looking around first week in November. So I don't know, 5-6 days. He'll be reevaluated. He has been on the court, getting up some shots and stuff, but he's clearly not okay for anything else at this point. And the same thing with Devin Carter. Like I talked about this a little bit. I don't know if it was here, D'Lo and Casey. But I was told that they're trying to ramp up Devin Carter to make sure that he does exactly what Kevin did, which is the day he's cleared, he's ready to roll.
Here we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
James there, Kyle here. Salute to Jiffy Lube, man.
Yeah, big shout out to our guys at Jiffy Lube.
Turning down the wrong pot. Here we go. Yeah, World Series Game 4 tonight. Dodgers looking to sweep the Yankees. First pitch, 5:08 p.m. I'm really disappointed in the Yankees, man. I was really looking forward to this series just from a baseball standpoint. And it has been disappointing. Game 1 was obviously historic and so much fun. But the Yankees have just,
Yeah, it's like the
not been
home
good.
run by Freddie Freeman was like a right cross, and it stunned it stunned the Yankees, and they never ever woke up out of that.
That's exactly what happened in '88.
Yeah,
like the Kirk Gibson home run happened. It was like, oh, the series is over.
Yeah, it just shocked the A's.
Yeah, and then Oral Hershiser goes and shoves and is awesome. And
yeah,
yeah, man. Ever since I know the Yankees scored a couple times in the ninth last night to make it look interesting, but it was just not been good.
No.
In the series, Aaron Judge yesterday said he felt like he was letting his team down. Aaron Judge hitting a light 083 in the World Series. He is 1 for 12 with a walk and 7 strikeouts.
Yeah, he's right. He's let his team down.
Yeah, man. And that's part of why this is so disappointing, right? And Giancarlo Stanton's been awesome and Juan Soto's been good. But like this was billed as, man, Ohtani, Judge. Like these are the two guys.
Yep.
Obviously, there are other great players in the league right now. But Ohtani and Judge are the two guys. The Yankees, Dodgers, the MVPs, the reigning MVPs probably going to be MVPs again. Like this is, man. This is what we want to see. And haven't gotten it. Judge has been really bad.
Yeah, it's been really a disappointment. I think sometimes momentum in baseball is so weird. And like even still, like you're down 3-0. The series isn't over. like especially with all the firepower the Yankees have. I mean, it's probably over.
Yeah, but if Aaron Judge gets hot, to your point,
Yeah,
we got a series.
yeah. Or if you have like one big time pitching performance, it can kind of change the tempo of what's happening. But I just think that the way that things happened on Friday night, right? It was so stunning. Like again, that Freddie Freeman home run is just so stunning. The way that and it's one pitch and gone,
Yeah.
and the whole place is like just erupts. But like you could just feel it break the spirit of another team,
man.
and you didn't think the Yankees would be that type of team where something like that can break their spirit. Especially they've got a deeper pitching rotation. They have so much firepower, and to watch them kind of go dormant, it's been wild.
Yeah, and I don't think it helped that the next night they come out, Dodgers go up 1-0 in the second. Yankees come back, tie the game, and the Dodgers immediately go up 4-1.
Yeah.
It's just they hit you with the grand slam, then they come out, they go up 1-0, you tie it. Okay, we got a series, and then whack 4-1.
Yeah.
And it's just at that point, that's really hard to come back from.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it feels like the Yankees are going to have to find something, and I don't know if they've got it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Does not look good for the Pinstripes. We'll be locked in because we got game 4 tonight.
Yeah, game 4 tonight.
4:30 coverage begins. Also, the Purple and Black pregame show. I do a very bad job of promoting that, but it's me and James.
Oh yeah, it's us.
4:00, talking Kings.
Yeah.
Tonight we'll be talking Kings Jazz ahead of the Kings game in Utah.
That's right.
You're welcome. We'll do that just for you.
What do we got? 6:30 start tonight for Kings Jazz.
Is that right?
6
o'clock.
6 o'clock start.
According to my schedule that I have in front of me here.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Did you watch any Monday Night Football last night by chance?
Like here and there, like when we're in the media room, but it's on right in the middle of the Kings game.
It was the most second screen game I've ever seen in my life.
Well, that's what
look. Here's my big takeaway. The Steelers are a wild ass 6-2. No idea how they got there.
So mid.
They are there, and they just keep churning out wins, and good for them. We love to see it. The Giants. I'm surprised we haven't gotten breaking news that Brian Daboll has been fired today. It's just so clear he's not the guy.
Yeah.
And I would like the Giants to be banned from primetime for a while.
The funny thing is, I wrote this on the rundown last week,
Mm-hmm.
and then we didn't get to it.
Yesterday.
No, last week. Like I because they were on primetime in some fashion last week, and I didn't ever want to see them again. It was either last week or the week before, but we didn't get to this because I was like, hey, I don't want to see them on primetime at all. I don't want to see the Jets on primetime, and I don't want to see the Giants on primetime. But even at least the Jets have some intrigue. They've fired their coach. They have a Hall of Fame quarterback. What we're seeing from the Giants is just like, why? Why are they on?
I'm sick. I'm more sick of the Jets than I am the Giants.
I don't know.
We still got to hear about the Jets, and we still got to protect.
No, I think you're right. They're both just trash.
Yeah, and the Steelers beat them both in primetime the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
they beat the Jets on Sunday Night Football last week, and then the Giants on Monday night this week. Yeah, no idea how they're doing it. But Brian Daboll's got to go. That's my overarching New York Giants take after watching last night.
Yeah.
They're just not going the right direction. And maybe they're going to let him coach the team into the ground so they can draft a quarterback, replace Daniel Jones, and bring in a coach to ascend with their new quarterback.
Yeah. So 2 weeks ago, the Giants played the Bengals on Sunday Night Football again.
Go ahead.
On October 13th. And again, it was like, hey, why do we keep having to watch this team? I don't understand. And then the 26th, we watched them play on Thursday Night Football. Like, why are they forcing us to watch a team that is everyone knew coming into the season was not going to be good? Why do they have 3 primetime games?
Because they're the New York Giants. They have a huge fan base and they're going to get eyeballs.
I guess.
Apparently, last night, it was reported that Giants owner John Mara, this is Jesse Tapia hit me to this. Giants owner John Mara committed to Joe Shane, their GM, and Brian Daboll, their head coach, into 2025.
Oh, well, that's a mistake.
I don't winning that playoff game was in 2022, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
A couple years ago. Winning that playoff game was the worst thing that could have happened to the Giants.
Yeah, just like
It
completely detrimental.
And you got Brian Dable, and he's the coach of the year, and they're paying Daniel Jones and everything. It's not going well.
Mm-mm.
This is not going correctly. And you're committing to it again? You're committing another year to it? No.
Yeah.
I'm not in. I'm not in for this.
Yeah, good luck with that.
He's got to go.
It's got some Jerry Jones vibes going on right there.
Anyways. Elsewhere around the NBA last night, okay, I want to get into I was in on the Pistons, my Detroit Pistons.
Yep.
Not that they were going to make the playoffs or anything crazy. I just thought they would win more than 26.5. That was their preseason over-under. Not a good start for my guys. They're 0-4. They lost to Miami last night, 106-98. I'm not walking it back, though. I feel good enough about how they've played, and I feel good enough about their collection of players that at some point they're going to rattle off some wins. They're figuring stuff out. A lot of new bodies in there. But when you watch, I feel obligated to watch the Pistons now. Like, this is the corner I've backed myself into.
Oh, no.
I've become...
You feel that?
I've become a big Pistons guy.
Oh.
And so I've felt the need to tap in and watch some Pistons. And you watch, and it's not a disaster, right? You watched the Pistons last year, and it was like, what a mess. What is going on here?
Yeah, that's when you really started to feel like Monty Williams was just not a good coach.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's like, hey, he doesn't want to be there, and you can kind of feel it, right?
But you get this year, you get Indiana. They lose to Indiana by 6 in a game they were up, but they played Indiana really tough.
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland, they lose by 12. Cleveland we'll get to in a second. Your Cleveland Cavs, off to a great start, beat the Pistons by 12. Okay. They go to Boston, gave Boston a game.
They did.
124-118. They actually played that game at home. They didn't go to Boston. They faced Boston. Lost by 6 at home. And then last night, they went to Miami, and they lose by 8. I feel really, really good about the direction the Pistons are going, and I still think they can get to over 26.5, especially in the East.
Okay.
Unless they pull the plug, unless at some point during the year they pull the plug and they trade Tim Hardaway Jr. and they trade Jalen Duren or Isaiah Stewart, or who's the other?
I can see them dealing Tobias Harris.
Tobias Harris, thank you.
Malik Beasley, I could see them trading Malik Beasley to try to get some value there at some point in the season. I'm okay. I covered so much bad basketball teams like this that are young and trying to figure things out and all that stuff that I get it. It's going to be the highs and lows, and you can go out and give the Celtics a huge run.
Mm-hmm.
But then you know that there's going to be a game coming up where you just get thumped.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of the ebbs and flows of a team that's trying to find their way and that isn't very good. And so I think you're probably right. The East is not very good, and they could make a run at that win total. But I also Cooper Flag is really good, and I think the Pistons they're not playing for it with 78 games to go.
No.
But 42 games left in the season, they're probably playing for Cooper Flag as much as anyone else in the league.
Do you know what Cade Cunningham's averaging this year?
Oh, I haven't looked.
26.5 points, 6 boards, 7.5 assists, a steal, 1.3 blocks.
What's he shooting from 3?
From 3,
37%.
Yeah, 37%.
Nice.
Look at Cade, man.
Hey, he was always supposed to be great.
Yes.
So it is good. It's just weird he's doing it now in obscurity, because it used to be Pistons used to be one of the bigger name. They were huge. They've
and the fact he's been able to develop in this infrastructure,
mm-hmm.
the fact he's been able to develop through this is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So I'm not backing out on the Pistons yet.
Well, then he had to battle injuries. He missed most of a season due to injury. So yeah, it's good to see where he's at.
They lost earlier in the year to your Cleveland Cavs.
Oh yeah. So my
They're
Cleveland
rolling,
Cavaliers,
dude.
the Cavs are rolling, and they're doing it different ways every single time. I think they're a team that's I don't know that they'll be a top 2 or 3 seed, But I do think like a 4 seed, 3-4 in the East is right there for them.
We're gonna have a full handoff today, if that's okay with you guys, because Kenny texted me during the show today.
Okay.
I received a text from Kenny Caraway, Damian Marling in the building for the handoff.
Well, I can get out the way.
Yeah, whatever you guys want to do.
No, I didn't. I got my days mixed up. Go ahead.
No, the days right. We literally were talking.
Like this just happened.
Oh no, we had a Mount Rushmore conversation.
Yeah, we're talking Mount Rushmore.
And he
Kings
texted his
Mount
Mount Rushmore.
He had very strong thoughts on it.
Okay. Well, here, because that computer's not even set up. So go ahead.
I could just stand by.
Well, I think it's
Okay, you go sit there.
we're a
Damien, I'm
professional
sorry.
radio show.
Damien, I'm sorry. I didn't communicate. That's on me. Flag on me. We're going to continue our Mount Rushmore conversation from earlier, where Kenny Caraway texted me and had really, really strong thoughts on this. Damian Marling, thank you so much for dropping in. He'll be back here in a bit. On
You look sad going out here.
That's my bad. I needed to communicate.
Well, there's a lot going on. You're doing a radio show.
I know. Well, I don't know. I tell you, like, yeah, hey, make sure to come in. I gotta let him know that I told you that. It's like I let you guys know when Jesse's gonna be here. That's on me. Anyways, so you had your no question, because a big piece of the conversation on the Kings Mount Rushmore that we had today, and if you missed it, this started because De'Aaron Fox hit his 10,000th point last night. Yeah. Shout out to De'Aaron Fox. So he got there last night. So I asked if he's on the Kings Mount Rushmore yet, or has he been there? And Kenny, you texted in with yours. So please remind us who your Mount Rushmore is, because so much for us, so much of the conversation was, man, it's these two guys. It's Weber and Richmond, and there's a lot of people gunning for those last two spots.
Yeah.
You did not have Richmond, and you said it's not a question for you.
Well, I did have Richmond on the Mount Rushmore. I did have him on the Mount Rushmore, but I did say Fox is past Mitch.
Oh yeah, that's what happened.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Fox is past Mitch. Fox is probably number 2 today. Today, he's probably number 2
behind Weber.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Mount Rushmore is Fox, Weber, no particular order. Fox, Weber, Mitch, and DeMarcus Cousins. And go ahead.
What did Fox do to pass Mitch Richmond?
He did about the same as Mitch Richmond did, and passed him. You know what I mean? And I love Mitch.
He just passed him.
Well, no, I'm
did it.
Well, no, what I'm saying when I say that though is he's got more points than him as a Sacramento King.
Are you sure about that?
Does he? I thought I saw him. Oh no,
that?
Mitch is ahead of him. Mitch is ahead of him. I saw that last night. Mitch is ahead of him. But
and are you basing this just off as hoopers? Or do you factor in success? Because that to me is why a player like Peja has to be in the mix. He was awesome and a very good player, but he was also on the most successful Sacramento Kings teams of all time.
He was.
So Vlade has to be in the conversation too.
He both of them were, but they weren't the best player on the team. So
so you're getting like one person per era then, really.
That's what it kind of comes down to.
Okay.
I mean, Mitch. I don't mean this as disrespect, because Mitch was my first favorite Sacramento King.
Sure.
Like before, I was much like kids. I was a Bulls fan. I loved Michael Jordan. I was
who didn't?
Going for
I had a Michael Jordan jersey. Come on.
I was going for the Bulls, and then Michael retires, and I'm like, well, I guess I'll pay attention to the. I guess I don't love the Bulls like that. I just love Michael Jordan.
Exactly.
So I'll pay attention to the team that's here. And I was like, oh, Mitch is bad. So he's my first favorite player. But I think Fox has surpassed them. And if you want Peja on there, I think the argument should be Peja or Mitch.
Really?
Man, I
Not
don't
Boogie?
know. Like, Mitch is a 6-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA during his time in Sacramento,
Man.
and a Hall of Famer. The first Hall of Famer in Sacramento, one of 2 Hall of Famers. I don't think there's any way. Like, I see where De'Aaron's going with his career, but I don't think there's any way that De'Aaron has surpassed him. Just in my,
that's fair.
Again, the 5 All NBAs. I mean, De'Aaron's at 1. He's at 1 All-Star appearance, and I mean it's tough. Mitch, he started his first 3 years in Golden State, so when he got to Sacramento, he was already pretty established. But man, Mitch averaged 25-9 a game one season, which I guess Fox surpassed. But he also didn't have a team. Like,
where does Domantas Sabonis fit into this discussion for you?
Man, he's going to get some people out of the paint when it's all said and done. I don't have him on there right now, but when it's all said and done, I think he's going to get some people out of paint. When it's all said and done, I think Fox is going to be number one. I said that last.
Yeah, yeah. I would agree with you.
Yeah, he's going to be the best. And Sabonis is going to be top 4. He's going to top 4. I think he's.
What does he have to do to pass Boogie? Was DeMarcus' run just, you feel like his peak was he was just better?
Here's the thing with DeMarcus, because people will say that he never won any more than 30 games.
Mm-hmm.
And they're correct, obviously, literally. But I would ask you and ask anybody, take any of those people that you would put ahead of DeMarcus Cousins and say, would they have won in that same situation? Would they have done any different team-wise in that same situation? So let's just use Peja as an example. And Peja, you take off Cousins and you put Peja on the team. Same situation, same rosters, same ownerships, same. Would they have won 47 games? I think the answer to all of that is no. So I'm not going to hold that against DeMarcus Cousins.
Okay, so I'm going to say the only player that was in a similar situation was Mitch Richmond, and Mitch did win. He made it to the playoffs in the 95-96 season. He barely missed a year before. They won 39 games 2 years in a row there. They didn't get to 41 wins. But at the same time, I think Mitch was able to do more with basically the same caliber of team.
But you were there, James. I'm not saying it was the most stable thing in the world. It was 10 times more stable. Mitch played for the same coach the whole time, right? Gary St. Jean?
No. Gary St. Jean was only there a couple of years.
Shout out to Saint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Friend of the program.
And look, and that's still like 5 less coaches than DeMarcus Cousins.
No, it's true.
That's one owner the whole time, right?
They switched owners right before he got traded.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. So I mean,
and the year the viral meningitis got him. We don't know what that year would have looked like.
They switched owners. Luke and Bill left in like the 93 season, and he started in Sacramento in 91, 92. He started with Dick Mona and Rex Hughes. He went on, and then he had he went on to St. Jean for most of the time.
I don't know who Rex Hughes is.
The great Rex Hughes.
Yeah, he did have. You're right. I think his last year, the last year he was there was the Eddie Jordan year.
That's right. I do remember that. Yeah. So that's my whole thing with Cousins.
We got to run. I wish we could talk about this for 2 more hours, but we got to go. D-Lo and KC coming up next. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders, and we're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. We will be back with you tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Right here on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Later. Until then, drink water and be nice, people. Bye.